I usually keep my mouth shut when things happen in the world. I usually tell myself I don't need to give my 2 cents. You guys got it. But this article that I'm just reading on NBC News, I saw it yesterday on Threads. I actually cannot believe that this is happening. The CEO of Barnes& Noble, James Daunt, nice to meet you, sir. It's the first time that I ever hear your name. Made a statement yesterday during some interview that he will start making AI books available in stores. Basically, he said if people want them, we're gonna have them in stock because all he cares about, I guess, making money. This article is actually pretty interesting because it talks about how in 2019 they're about to shut down. And if you guys are old enough to remember, just 6 years ago, Barnes & Noble was going bankrupt. I remember the Barnes & Noble that was around the corner from the house that I grew up in had this store closing sign for the longest time, and it eventually shut down. And it was so sad for me that that store shut down because it's the first Barnes & Noble that I remember going when I was in high school, going on my own, spending time there. That's where I met Stephanie Meyer when Twilight came out. It was such a special store for me. The article says how in 2019 they sold stores because they were facing bankruptcy. But what changed? BookTok. BookTok put Barnes & Noble back in the map. BookTok made reading cool again and going to Barnes & Noble, making videos there. Just, it brought up a lot of attention to Barnes & Noble to the point to where this article says that 60 new stores have been opened in 2025 and 60 stores are arriving in this year. Where I currently live, I don't have one close by, so I don't go very often. But anytime that I'm close to Barnes & Noble, I stop, I get books, I get special editions. I go to events at Barnes & Noble's very, very often. Again, we brought Barnes & Noble back. We made Barnes & Noble cool again. Their answer to that is this man saying that they're going to start selling AI made books. He says, I have no problem selling any book as long as it doesn't masquerade or pretend to be something that it isn't, and that it has an essential quality to it, and that the customer, the reader, wants it. As long as an AI written book says it's an AI written book and doesn't pretend to be something else, and it isn't ripping off somebody else, as long as that's clearly stated and the customer wants to buy it, then we will stock them. Look, Mr. Daunt, I'm not going to say that Amazon doesn't sell AI made books because they do. Unfortunately, AI made books are taking over because AI generated books are made so fucking fast because they're made by a computer. People that are choosing to do that are able to publish quotation marks on that several books at a time. So somehow, some way, they end up being shown, being sold, etc. Yeah, there is a lot of people that don't give a fuck if the book is written by AI. Which honestly, I don't understand how people are actually able to read stories made by AI because AI continues to make mistakes. It's only normal. It is a computer. So I totally understand that there is somewhat of a market for AI made books. But you know what Amazon has already? And believe me, I'm no friend of Amazon. I don't agree with a lot of things that they do. One thing that it does is that it gives indie authors the opportunity to publish through them and to sell through them. And selling through Amazon for indie authors is fairly an easy process. And a lot of readers purchase through Amazon because they're trying to support indie authors. They're trying to support independent published authors like myself who are working extremely hard to get our books out there. If you want our support, what you should be doing instead of going the easy route and selling this trash made by a computer is find a way to support independent authors. Since I publish my books, some of my books are available at some of your stores. But the process to get our books in your stores is so tough. It's so hard. For anyone that is not familiar, the process for an indie author to get a book in a store is that we have to contact the store, contact the person that is in charge of getting books in, usually a manager, and we have to reach out to them, sell them the book, pitch them the book for them to decide, oh yes, maybe I want to get a couple of your books, and they order them in. That's for every single store in the country. So the stores where my books are being stocked, it is because I have talked personally to each one of these managers via email, directly, by calling and asking who I'm supposed to talk to, by doing research. Things that I honestly don't really have the time as a person that works full-time and writes full-time at the same time. This is the reason why a lot of authors, indie authors, are not even attempting to sell their books with Barnes & Noble. So if you want your stores to continue to function and to stay open. Instead of trying to sell some AI slop, you should be finding a way to support independent authors, to support humans, the same humans that have spent their hard-earned money at your stores. Honestly, very disappointing that after these communities have kept your stores open and prevented the bankruptcy of your stores, that you are going the cheap route. And I know that when you gave this interview, you knew that you were going to get some backlash. Clearly, you don't care. So if changes are not made, my books are going to be pulled out of Barnes & Noble, and I will not be purchasing anything from Barnes & Noble again. I'm also not going to be attending any author events at Barnes & Noble. And of course, I'm going to cancel my yearly membership. And I think a lot of book lovers are going to do the same. Instead of whining about Amazon, how about you do something to make the difference?